This is what it looks like outside right now.
So today, I'm just going to do some office work.
I got a question from a viewer the other day.
And she wanted to know how I organize the information on my paintings. And so I thought I would share that here in the video. You can also use Microsoft Excel or any other spreadsheet that you like. I keep track of everything so that the headers of the columns are different information, and so each row belongs to a particular painting. The titles of the columns, sometimes I'll put a little thumbnail image, but I don't do that very often. It just takes extra time. But then I number each painting, and what I do is I start with the year that I finished the painting, and then I number them in order chronologically from 1 to whatever. As you can see here, I only numbered the 2023 paintings through number 9 because I didn't start this until late in actually I didn't even start this until 2024. You'll have the image number all the way down, and then the title of the painting, and then width in inches, height in inches, and then I talk about the materials in the next column, which is, for me, it's either acrylic on canvas or acrylic on wood panel or mixed media on canvas or wood panel. I put the completed date. As you can see here, I only have the years, but later on I did start adding the months and days. So if I finish a painting on January 7th, 2025, I'll have January 7th, 2025 as my completed date. Then I have held by is basically a location where that painting is living or hanging right now. If it's in a gallery or if it's in an exhibition somewhere or whatever else. And then the location, most of them that I haven't sold yet are in the garage. That's where I store my paintings. You can see here the first one I have in our kitchen. And then I have notes. So I'll just, anything particular to that painting. Usually I put where it's sold or who it's sold to. I'll put the buyer name, their contact information, like their snail mail address, and then their email. That way I can always go back in. I make sure that I've thanked them and I keep them on my mailing list. That's basically it. But this is how I keep everything organized. I also do something similar for keeping track of my expenses. Again, I have the different categories, for tax purposes. I have the different categories in the column headers. And then as time goes on, I make a note of the expenditure in whatever column it belongs in. And then at the end, I can add everything up. Another way I keep track of things is with this calendar up here on the wall. I just make notes on it, got all the shows that I've applied to and whether I've made hotel reservations and U-Haul reservations, and if the booth has already been paid for and all that. I keep track of that on this board, and then I also have a page in my notebook where I write it down. Another thing I do is I have a little notebook, and I write down at every event where I'm selling my art, I will write down if people expressed interest in something, if there's someone's name I want to remember, if they bought something. For example, if they bought a print, I like to keep track of my print inventory, so I'll write that down. Sometimes it gets really busy and I don't have time to do it, but I try to keep track of as much information on the day it happens as I can, because I just like to keep track of who are my customers and what they're interested in, any comments they make on paintings, or if they they point something out and that they like, and sometimes people will ask if I have a print of something. And if I get enough people asking, then I know that will sell, so I'll go ahead and make a print of that. I also keep track in my notebook of which calls for entry I have sent my work into, especially if it gets accepted. In case the real painting needs to be somewhere, I have to make sure I don't double book my paintings. I have a primitive method of keeping track of all this, but it works for me. If you have an easier time by writing everything down in a spreadsheet or recording it on your phone or whatever works for you, that's fine. But you really should have a way of keeping track of everything that's happening in your business, because you never know when you're going to have to refer back to something, or if you need a client's address and you need to get a hold of them, or if you forget where certain paintings are. That happens sometimes when you've got work in several different places. So you need to know which paintings are where. In my notebook, I keep track of all the receipts, and if I get paper receipts, I keep a copy of those. And then at the end of the year, I take everything and I put it in a big envelope and put it away when I do my taxes, and then it's there. And I take all the stuff from the previous year out of my notebook to put it away, and then I start my new year. The other thing I have are price tags. And they're not like a tag, but it's like a little business card. And I have these made up by a printing company. And it's just the size of a business card, but it says title, medium, size, and price. And I have that for all of my artwork at every show. That way the price is labeled on there. There's no question about what I'm charging, and it keeps me from having to remember. So those are some of the ways I stay organized. I hope that helps. So please subscribe to my channel and like this video and share it with other people. If you have any questions, put them in the comments and I'll reply. Thanks.